Hello Year 6. So welcome to our reading session. We are on chapter 3 of Wonder. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Now I have made no secret of the fact that I love this book. I absolutely love this book. I've taught it, used it with my classes for probably the last 10 years, pretty much every year group, because I just think it is an amazing book and I hope you're enjoying it too. Now one of the, not downsides, but this book is written by an American author and it's set in America. So sometimes there's some words that maybe we're not as familiar with, and sometimes there might be phrases that we don't understand. One of the words that it uses is mom. Now I can't bring myself to say mom, so every time it says mom in the text I will just say mum. Okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to read the next chapter. And as we are reading today, I want you to be picking out words and phrases that you're unfamiliar with. So if we get to any words as I'm reading it, or any phrases that you think, I'm not quite sure what that means, write it down in your book. Okay? Any words or phrases you're unfamiliar with, write it down in your book. And then at the end of the lesson, well, kind of when I finish the chapter, I'll explain what you're going to do with them. Okay? Any words or phrases that you think, oh, I've not heard that before, or I think I know what that means, but I'm not too sure, I want you to write it down. Okay, let's get into my screen. Here we go. Now, like I said, we are looking at the meaning of unfamiliar words and phrases. So that doesn't mean that we don't know at all what they mean. It might just mean that we're not too sure. And we're going to be doing that as we read chapter 3, How I Came to Life. Little bits of the text will appear underneath here, but like I've said before, I can't put the whole thing on there. Here we go. Chapter 3, How I Came to Life. I like it when Mum tells this story because it makes me laugh so much. It's not funny in the way a joke is funny, but when Mum tells it, Vee and I just start cracking up. So when I was in Mum's stomach, no one had any idea I would come out looking the way I look. Mum had had Vee 4 years before, and that had been such a walk in the park, Mum's expression, that there was no reason to run any special tests. About 2 months before I was born, the doctors realised that there was something wrong with my face, but they didn't think it was going to be that bad. They told Mum and Dad I had a cleft palate and some other stuff going on. They called it small anomalies. There were 2 nurses in the delivery room the night I was born. One was very nice and sweet. The other one, Mum said, did not seem at all nice or sweet. She had very big arms and, here comes the funny part, she kept farting. Like, she'd bring Mum some ice chips and then fart. She'd check Mum's blood pressure and then fart. Mum says it was unbelievable because the nurse never even said excuse me. Meanwhile, Mum's regular doctor wasn't on duty that night, so Mum got stuck with this cranky kid doctor she and Dad nicknamed Dougie after some old TV show or something. They didn't actually call him that to his face though. But Mum says that even though everyone in the room was kind of grumpy, Dad kept making her laugh all night long. When I came out of Mum's stomach, she said the whole room got really quiet. Mum didn't even get a chance to look at me before the nice nurse immediately rushed me out of the room. Dad was in such a hurry to follow her that he dropped his video camera, which broke into a million pieces. And then Mum got very upset and tried to get out of bed to see where they were going. But the farting nurse kept putting her very big arms on Mum to keep her down in the bed. They were practically fighting because Mum was hysterical and the farting nurse was yelling at herself to stay calm. And then they both started screaming for the doctor. But guess what? He had fainted, right on the floor. So when the farting nurse saw that he had fainted, she started pushing him with her foot to get him to wake up, yelling at him the whole time, "What kind of doctor are you? What kind of doctor are you? Get up! Get up!" And then all of a sudden, she let out the biggest, loudest, smelliest fart in the history of farts. Mum thinks it was actually the fart that finally made him wake up. Anyway, when Mum tells this story, she acts out all the parts, including the farting noises, and it is so funny. Mum says that the farting nurse turned out to be a very nice woman. She stayed with Mum the whole time, didn't leave her side even after Dad came back and the doctors told them how sick I was. Mum remembers exactly what the nurse whispered in his ear when the doctor told her I probably wouldn't live through the night. She said, "Everyone born of God overcometh the world." And the next day, after I had lived through the night, it was that nurse who held Mum's hand when they brought her to meet me for the first time. Mum says by then, They had told her all about me. She had been preparing herself for the seeing of me. But she says that when she looked down into my tiny, mushed up face for the first time, all she could see was how pretty my eyes were. Mum is beautiful, by the way, and Dad is handsome. Beer is pretty, in case you were wondering. And that is the end of the chapter. I forgot how many times I had to say fart in that one chapter. I apologise to your parents if they've heard me say that too, my bad. Now, hopefully, as I was going through that, you will have written down some words and phrases that you were maybe unfamiliar with. Now, I wrote a list of words and phrases that I think are maybe quite unfamiliar too. And it is these. So we've got hysterical, cleft palate, small anomalies, overcometh, cracking up, walk in the park, and blood pressure. You might have come up with a few more, and that's absolutely fine. You might have a couple left, and that's also absolutely fine. If you've got less than 5, I want you to get 5. So you might need to choose some from my list. So your task for today, and you can wait until the video ends to do this. You are going to use an online thesaurus, or you can maybe chat to your parents or other people in your house, and you need to come up with a definition for any words that you're unfamiliar with. Like I said, it needs to be at least 5, okay? I've got, how many have I got? 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah? So you could do 7. You might have a few more, you might have 10. But I want you to come up with and understand what these words and phrases mean. So if you want to go back to the story and listen to it again, might as well. You get to hear me say fart a few more times. And then go through it, and maybe in the context of the sentence, you might be able to work out what it means. But I want you to write, so let's say for the first one, hysterical. On your paper, write the word hysterical, and then give me a definition. And then for an extra brownie point, you can put it into a sentence. So that first one, if I was doing it together, well actually let's do it. So I would write the word hysterical. Why not letting me type? Interesting. Okay, that's being funny. So you'd write the word hysterical, and then underneath you will come up with a definition. So the definition for hysterical, now I've not checked this online. Well, actually I could do. Let's jump to word hippo. And if I put in the word hysterical, the definition it gives me is affected or deriving from wildly uncontrolled emotion or extremely funny. Now I think the extremely funny one is the best one for this, okay? Then I could put that in a sentence, and I could say it was hysterical when Mr. Sinister is video with Mr. Marin in it. Because I know it was hysterical, really. Mr. Marin found it funny as well, by the way. So you're going to do that for like the 7 different words that you're going to be writing about. Okay? So there's a little list of things that I do again, and you're going to come up with the definitions and maybe describe what it says. Okay, year 6, work hard, put in a great effort, and I look forward to seeing you work in a bit. Goodbye. Oh, actually, not goodbye, because Maylee says I need to come up with some kind of slogan. So I'm going to say something like, may this dearest of days be upon you.